the worst year for a lot of us for our mental as well as physical health. So joining us this morning is best-selling author, coach, and fitness expert, Lisa Goldenthal.
Hello and welcome. I'm Lisa G, your host. You're at the top of your game, yet the game is changing faster than ever. Strategies that got you here aren't the ones that'll keep you here. The pressure is relentless and the fear of obsolescence looms large. That's why I'm here. Welcome to the new podcast series, Disrupted: How to Be Gritty and Unlock Performance. This is your chance where I sit down with today's top experts in business, mindset, wellness, and success to help you master disruption and thrive.
Thanks for coming, and I'll see you soon.
He's the CEO of Fit Body Bootcamp, a leading fitness bootcamp franchise with over 2 decades of experience, specialized in helping fitness business owners grow their profits. He started from humble beginnings and achieved remarkable success from selling millions in services to becoming a 7-figure gym owner and CEO of Fit Body Bootcamp, making him a sought-after professional speaker, inspiring leader in the fitness industry. I am super pumped. Welcome to the podcast, Bryce Henson.
Lisa, thank you so much for having me. Very excited to connect with you today.
I am so thrilled. We talked a little bit off camera about my passion, similar to yours, has always been health and fitness. So I want to talk to you first about leadership. With all that you've accomplished, what would you say are like the 5 easiest steps to take today to increase your leadership?
Ooh, amazing question. Yeah, we were talking offline. We both love fitness. We love business. We love coaching and really high performance coaching. I mean, leadership is something that I've become an expert in, but I'm also a student in. It's one of those things you always have to have a white belt mentality, which I think is probably the first step for good leaders, having a white belt, humble mentality. Secondarily, my framework on leadership, I have 3 pillars, if you will. It's lead yourself, lead your family, and lead your empire. And there's no way you can be a strong leader in your community or in your family or lead and scale a really big business if you can't lead yourself. So I love coaching and mentoring and be able to provide, guidance on how to lead oneself. And this is why I love fitness, because fitness is the ultimate ability for you to be able to lead yourself, live a better quality of life, optimize your own life. And let's face it, Lisa, I'm preaching to the choir here. You're super fit. You've been in this industry for a long time. What I love about it is when you get fit, you show up differently, your energy, your enthusiasm, you can lead yourself. And that's really the predecessor for being able to lead your family, your community, and ultimately your empire. So that's, I guess, high level, my thought on leadership, and I'm happy to dive in more.
Well, yeah, absolutely. You are preaching to the choir, and thank you for all that nice stuff that you said, because self-leadership is actually one of my favorite topics. And I love the parallel between business and fitness, because how you do one thing is really how you do anything. And motivation just doesn't show up every day, but discipline does. So do you want to dive first into the topic of self-leadership and what that means to our audience?
Oh, yeah. Well, it first starts with you, and you're absolutely right. It's about self-leadership, coming from discipline. And I think it's habitual in nature. And if you're anything like me, I always like to say Bryce 1.0 was not disciplined, used to hit the snooze button, used to wake up at 8 or 9 or 10, whatever the case may be, as I entered my professional career. But I realized very quickly that wasn't a long-term sustainable way to be successful. And that was really what I was after from a business, lens first and foremost. And then I realized, it started with me. I needed to be able to create better habits, and specifically from a discipline and a fitness perspective. One of the best things I did is I ended up hiring a fitness coach. Unfortunately, it was a dear friend that moved from college. We lived together for a couple of years. And what Adam did, he's introduced me to circuit training, lifting weights, clean nutrition, but most importantly, coaching and accountability. And following his framework for fitness, I trained with him for 2 years. And this is back in 2007 when I really started my discipline, leadership, fitness journey for that matter. And after going, training with him for 2 years, but hyper-focused 6 months, I ended up, dropping 20 pounds of body fat. I put 20 pounds of lean muscle on. I dramatically changed my physique, right? But
Awesome.
but most importantly, Lisa, and why I love this about fitness is my career exploded. In fact, I was in the sales industry at the time. I went from the least performing sales rep all the way to highest performing sales rep in the company. And there was only one thing that changed. It was my fitness, which was really the predecessor for me becoming more disciplined person. So I always like to, put a bow on it. I always like to communicate and coach, you know, people that need coaching that want to develop their business or really become a high performer. It first starts with you. Dial in your fitness, dial in your discipline, and watch everything else work out for you.
I love it. I mean, I've heard it said that motivation is like a mistress. It doesn't show up every day, but discipline actually does. And diving a little deeper into another one of my favorite topics of coaching and your passion and how you were able to coach yourself to success, but you can't, nobody does it alone. I mean, all the top
Right.
athletes have coaches, all of the top business leaders have coaches. So how important is it to actually have some coach holding your feet to the fire to do the things that you said you were going to do for the reasons you said mattered?
100% mission critical. There's no doubt about it. Coaching is absolutely, needed. And let's face it, human nature, we have the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we all don't have amazing days, right? There's times, to your point, the motivation isn't there. You're not fired up. You're not inspired. But at the end of the day, the circumstance of you not being motivated doesn't change the responsibility for you to dial in your fitness, being the better version of you. So when I look back at my life and my career, like big pivotal moments, I always had coaching. I just showcased, the story of my first fitness journey back in 2007. And what I didn't share with you is I tried to get fit when I first moved to LA in the period of 2005 and 2007. And I had a couple false starts. I'd go to the gym, I'd get on the treadmill, run around for a little while, and then realize no one was there giving me the coaching, the accountability, and I could just slip out of the gym whenever I wanted. And I did, especially in the early days. But it wasn't until really connecting with my first unofficial fitness, trainer and coach that really changed my fitness. And that really catapulted into my next career, becoming a business owner. And we were talking offline. My business partner and dear friend and mentor, who you followed also for a long time, Bedros Koulian, he was my first fitness business coach. And in
Wow.
2012, when I was inspired, after going through my fitness journey, I wanted to, become a health coach, be able to, get people in better shape. I didn't know where to start. I was confident in my sales ability, as we talked about, because going through my own fitness journey really enabled me to become a better salesperson. But when you run your own business, I didn't know how to generate a lead or market the lead or run operations or HR. These are all the things that you need from a business perspective. So I was fortunate enough to be able to connect with my first business coach, and he's been with me since. So all this to say, coaching is mission critical. And I think the reason why is, number one, you need a guide. You need someone to showcase where you need to go. And that's really important, right? If you were going to a foreign country, it's probably a good idea to hire a guide who speaks the language. So that's really, really important aspect of coaching. The second and final one for me is human nature will disappoint ourselves more than we will disappoint other people. So when you make a commitment with someone, when you have someone who's hired there from an accountability perspective, you might want to disappoint yourself. You might hit the snooze if left to your own devices. But if you have a coach who is going to be there at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, whenever you make that appointment, miraculously, human nature will actually rise to the occasion, and ultimately you get a better result. So for me, Lisa, coaching is just absolutely fundamental to success.
Well, I'm so glad that you say that. I couldn't agree with you more on the importance of discipline, the importance of fitness, the importance of coaching. And my other favorite topic is the importance of a mindset, because we've all been disrupted. The name of this show right now is How to Be Gritty and Unlock Performance. So we all want to be a performer at our highest level over time, not just right now, but over the long run, and maintain that and just be better than our peers. Let's be honest. We all want to do our best. So how important is it to have that mindset?
Oh man. I mean, it's the building block of success. There's no way that you're going to achieve any success. And that's whether you want to get fit, you want to get six pack abs, that you want to run a company, start a business. It all starts with your mindset. And especially from an entrepreneurial's world, and Lisa, you know this to be true, being a high executive business coach, your mindset dictates everything. It's really not what happens to you, it's how you respond. And the only way you as a leader, as a business owner, as a CEO, or just as a family person can lead your family as an example. If you have, clear mindset and you focus on your mindset and you have an understanding that, you know what, obstacles are actually challenges to make you better. And that's a very hard subject and hard topic to grasp, especially when you're young and experienced. But through time, you'll realize that challenges make you better. And the more you can develop your mindset to really create a rock solid, in my case, stoic mindset, which is the philosophy that I follow, the better off you're going to be able to lead yourself, your company, your fitness, your family. So mindset's everything.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I want to dive back into the topic of leadership because
Yeah.
obviously, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Do you have any more frameworks of how we can double our profits to become more successful? Because we've all been disrupted. That's not going anywhere. How do we just run into the fire and keep going?
Yeah, well, I love leadership. Like I said earlier, I'm an expert in it, but I'm also a student of it as well. And we went through the three pillars, but there's some tactical things that, to your point about frameworks, that you can increase your leadership. And I have a 5C framework, the letter C, which is clarity, courage, connection, communication, and consistency. And really, from a clarity perspective, from a leadership perspective, really a strong leader shows the way, provides the path, is very clear on the mission, the vision, and the values of organization. So strong leadership, it starts with having a clear vision, which then secondarily translates into be able to communicate that vision. And leadership requires strong communication, whether it's, on a podcast right here, whether it's having a one-on-one hard, crucial conversation with a teammate, whether it's addressing your whole company, as I just did with our quarterly state of the business for Q1, being able to communicate in a variety of mediums is really, really important and a tenet of strong leadership. And the good news is, it can be developed. If you want to be a better written author, as an example, practice writing. If you want to be a better public speaker, guess what? You need to put time under tension and get your butt on different stages to practice the craft. So I think that's a really secondary tenet. The third one that I talked about is also a tenet of stoicism, but it's courage. At the end of the day, leadership is about making hard decisions that are in the betterment of your entire following. And sometimes making the right decision, the hard decision, is actually the unpopular decision. At least, when you're facing the quote unquote mob, if you will. So you have to have courage. And again, courage is a muscle that can be developed with time. Which is again a strong tenet of leadership, which then leads me to my last two, which are connection and consistency. So connection, we don't lead robots, we lead people. So it really the way I've been able to separate myself and like to think, develop strong leadership skills is because I feel grateful for this. I love people. I love connecting with people. I love pouring into people. I'm a people guy and I'm a relationship guy, and I think my leadership always starts with relationships and connection, which is the fourth tenet that I shared in my framework, and which leads me to the fifth one, Lisa, which is consistency, the fifth C. And at the end of the day, no one is going to follow a leader, at least for any length of time, who, even if they're great on one day, like rock star, but then they show up at a zero the next day, eventually, that's going to wear old. And as a leader, you're going to have a hard time leading your organization, leading your team, leading yourself, leading your family for that matter. So the consistent leader is always the better leader, which really is the final foundation for that framework, speaking of leadership. And Lisa, I love this topic and we can go on forever, but leadership is important to kind of put a bow on it. From my lens, it's always the problem. It's always the solution. So the better you can be, you can be as a leader and develop your leadership skills, the better everything is going to be in your life.
Well, I love the way that you are saying that you love leadership and that you're constantly learning, because it's like you never really get there, do you? Like if you want to get to the next level, it's always about leveling up, isn't it? If you want to, in disruption, you want to have grit, you want to achieve peak performance. Any final words of wisdom bombs you want to drop on our audience about what it really takes to achieve success in this environment?
Love it. I mean, persistence is really the thing for me, the biggest thing. There's a book called Relentless from a friend of mine named Tim Grover, who is the former personal trainer of Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. And Dwayne Wade, and the list goes on. And, his philosophy is you got to be gritty. You need to fall down seven, but you're going to fall down seven, but you need to get up eight. And,
Yeah.
having that that gritty, that resilient, that relentless mindset is really important. And I guess to finish off from the leadership perspective, while I was excited to showcase I'm a leadership expert, the reality, Lisa, is I've made so many leadership mistakes in my youth, and I still make them till this day. So to that point, you don't have to be the perfect leader, but you have to be a real, raw, authentic leader that cares on people. And, when you make a mistake, when you fall down, you got to get back up and really be relentless, as the topic of my dear friend Tim Grover, his book. So that would probably be my last parting piece of wisdom, to really give you some tools and your audience some tools to be able to develop their leadership skills and really elevate their lives.
Well, where can people find more of you? I mean, we can't end on a better note than resilience and grit.
Yeah, well, thank you for the opportunity. I'm a podcaster as well. So my podcast is called the Fitness CEO Podcast. So happy to connect with you there. And then all my other social media platforms, you can find me. My handle is Real Bryce Henson, not to be confused with fake Bryce Henson. So that's where you can find me at all social.
Awesome. Bryce Henson, thanks for being a fabulous guest.
Lisa, appreciate you, my dear.
Thank you for coming to Disrupted, How to Be Gritty and Unlock Performance. This episode is brought to you by Magic Mind. This little shot of amazing right here is literally productivity in a bottle. You can find it at Sprouts. We're going to offer you a special WholeCEO discount code. You can get 20% discount. So I'll pop this in the show notes, but I just wanted to say thank you, Magic Mind. As an entrepreneur, focus is one of the hardest things. You have so many things pulling at you, and the benefit of Magic Mind, it gives me the focus that I need to succeed, and it'll help you too. So check them out, magicmind.com.